Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Go ahead and subscribe and hit the like button now, and hopefully throughout this video I'll prove to you that this channel will be worth it. I'll make videos on how to study, tips on studying physics, and lots of other tips that I learned in college, as well as some technology reviews. So stay tuned for all those. So today I'm going to be talking about how to study in a small group, and I'm going to give some tips for how to do it online too, because this year obviously we're all taking courses online, so we're going to have to learn to study in groups online, because it's probably not going to stop professors from assigning these group projects that we all need to do. And really, doing group work is one of the most effective ways of learning that there is. It's been studied that doing group work with other people is more effective in learning than doing it by yourself in almost every single way. That's why pretty much every job company requires some sort of group work. There is individual tasks for each person, but really every person is part of a larger group. And so this is why learning to do group work now is really important. So let's start with probably the most important part of group work, and that is the size of your group. How big should it be? Well, the optimal size for a group is 3 people. Now, this is the perfect number because with each 3 people, there is always going to be one person who needs guidance and one person who knows the answer to almost every single problem. And then one person kind of in the middle that, can offer their support to the person who needs guidance, but also can learn something from the person who knows how to answer the question immediately. So now this is why 3 people is the optimal group. If you have only 2 people in a group, then it kind of just turns into, you 2 split up the tasks and you do 2 individual works instead of 1 group work assignment. If you have 4 people or more, then it turns more into like a party, really. It turns into more of like a social gathering rather than a group work assignment to get work done and to learn. Now, I'm not saying having 4 people there is wrong. 4 people might also be an optimal number depending on how your group works, but in general, 3 people is what I would recommend. 4 people is the maximum, and don't go over that. Going over that's probably a bad idea. And of course, these rules also apply to online groups, especially for the more people part, because the more people you have in one online group, then the noisier it gets when everyone unmutes. It's harder to keep track of what everyone's doing because you're not all on the same page maybe. But this video will help you make sure everyone's on the same page, but it is still harder to track everyone when you have more people online. Now let's move on to communication. Communication is one of the most key parts in the group work, because if you're not able to communicate effectively with the group, then you might as well not be working in a group at all. It could honestly be detrimental to your learning experience yourself. Set the rules of what is expected for the group, so what learning outcomes you want to do, what problems you want to solve, these type of things. These rules should also be set for an online environment. So for an online environment, the rules will be like, pay attention to whoever is sharing their screen right now because they're obviously trying to show you something important to them. Some other rules like turning your webcam on can make a big difference in making a connection with people, because you really need to make a connection with people to be comfortable in a group with them. Turning a webcam on and being able to see them face to face is a really good sign of making a connection with these people that you're going to be working with, especially if you've never worked with them before, because if you're just working with total strangers now out of the blue, then being able to see each other and talk to each other like face to face is going to be very helpful. And knowing when to correct people when they're wrong is very important. That's almost the whole point of group work, is to help other people and explain things for yourself or get the help and guidance that you need. So being able to effectively help these people is what's important. You should never interrupt people while they're speaking, especially in an online call, because if you interrupt someone while they're speaking, that's kind of a form of disrespect to them. You're disrespecting them because they're trying to offer you the information that they have while, say, they're writing on a whiteboard, while you're just interrupting them saying, oh, you're wrong because of this reason, this reason, this reason. But really, even if you're right and they are wrong about that, you need to listen to them and let them fully explain what they're going through, what their thought process is. Because even you can learn something new from what their thought process is in going through their problem, even if it's wrong. And also, even if they are wrong, if you let them fully explain their thought process, they can even catch their own problem. So it's probably happened to you many times. I know it's happened to me where I'm explaining a problem out loud that I was stuck on, and then all of a sudden in the middle of me explaining it, even though it's wrong, I understand the right way to approach it now. So if you can let people explain things thoroughly and all the way through before you interrupt them or before you give them the guidance that they need, then that will help them understand more, and it helps them think more critically about the problems that they're trying to solve. And this is especially true with online calling too, because in online calls, then you put your mic on. Sometimes we don't know who's talking. Sometimes your mic goes in and out. It's really not an effective way of talking or participating in an online group. So make sure one person online is talking at a time. That way everyone knows who's speaking and it's very clear what information is getting put out at that time. So now, how do you collaborate in a group? So to collaborate in a group, what you want to do is make sure everyone is on those same rules that you just mentioned and that everyone knows what they're doing. So say you're trying to solve a problem on a whiteboard, or someone sharing their screen and trying to solve a problem on their screen. Well, you should know, let them solve the problem through their screen, and then maybe type in something that you're trying to tell them, and if they notice, they notice. If not, let them come back to it after, or you can tell them after they're done explaining. Another important part is to know what your group is going to be doing, if you're meeting up physically, what the group is going to be doing there. So maybe make sure that whatever room you're meeting in has a whiteboard or a chalkboard or enough room, enough seats for everyone to sit in. That way no one feels left out because they don't get a seat or something, or you don't have to frantically search for another room. I know that's happened to me a lot, where we just go into a study room. Me and a group just walk into the library and we look for a study room and can never find one. Also, know how long everyone wants to stay and what each person really needs to get done in that group. Maybe you're working on a full homework assignment with a group because you're seeking the guidance for them, and you want to get done the third problem or something. Well, maybe someone else in the group needs help with the second problem. So knowing that what each person wants and needs to get done inside the group is important. That way you can break up each time segment, and you know okay, we need to get this done by this time, this done by this time, so this person can leave, all these different types of things. So all these little important factors that you probably don't think of before meeting with the group, just think of them now. Think of them before you meet up, so that way there's no confusion and there's no second guessing once you get there. Because honestly, making up these rules once you get there could probably take 10 to 15 minutes of your group time. And if you're only there for about an hour, maybe you only have the room reserved for an hour, that's a quarter of your time used up doing nothing, basically. And now, that's basically it. That's basically all there really is to group work. You want to have 3 members. That's the optimal number of members for a group. That way, probably one person is going to be asking the question, one person is kind of 50-50 whether they know it or not, and one person probably knows it completely. Or all 3 of you can just be working on the same thing, going from different directions, tackling it from different ideas and different perspectives. So that's why 3 is the optimal number of people to work in a group with. 4 is a little bit of pushing it because it could turn into more social networking things or social parties, stuff like that. I would say anything past 4 is ineffective of group work, and I would try to avoid it. Your group dynamics might be different than my group dynamics, but from what I found, 3 or 4 people always works best with me. While you're communicating with everyone, you need to make sure that everyone is comfortable with openly communicating their ideas with everyone. You know, if one person feels a little insecure because there's that one person in the group that just solves every problem and has no problem working on anything, you know, someone might feel a little insecure because they don't know how to solve a problem, and they might not want to speak up when they have a question about something because they don't want to feel stupid. And to make that comfortable connection, that's why you need to, if you're online, turn on your webcams so that everyone can see you face to face. That establishes a connection. And also, avoid interrupting people. If you interrupt someone while they're explaining their thoughts or ideas, that's seen as disrespectful and could harm the group dynamic, make people feel a little more insecure about themselves if you just go up and say, "Oh, that's wrong." And that's it for today's video, guys. I hope you liked it and will subscribe for more videos like this in the future. Alright, thank you. Bye.